This is the Battle of Super-Earth. It was one of the most iconic battles in Helldivers 2. Not only was this battle an extremely fun event for the game, but it also had a unique real-world impact in the gaming ecosystem. It was so impactful that it was even featured in global news. Honestly, the entire story is pretty insane, and it's one of the most memorable events in Helldivers 2. Hi, my name is Red Monster Thing, but you can call me Red. And today, I wanted to commemorate the battle for Super-Earth, and how it impacted gamers all over the world. Now, the battle for Super-Earth all started at the very beginning of the game in March 2024 with the Activate Terminid control system missions. On these missions, we were required to activate giant towers that spewed gas onto regions of the planet, intended to kill bugs. But this led to the unintended creation of the Meridian supercolony, which forced us to collapse the planet Meridia into a black hole, which later led to the return of the Illuminate on the world Calypso, which we witnessed at the Game Awards in 2024. Probably because the Meridian black hole was actually a wormhole that let the Illuminate come back into our galaxy. The Illuminate started to gather dark fluid and move the singularity and push it towards Super-Earth. Of course, this was stopped before the discovery of the Illuminate Great Host, which was the invasion force that the Illuminate was secretly preparing to attack Super-Earth. On the way over, they even glassed Mars. But the real battle didn't even begin until after the Great Host actually reached Super-Earth. The first thing of major note that made the battle for Super-Earth different from other battles in Helldivers 2 is that the enemy invasion actually had a reinforcement budget in the form of fleet strength. Players could easily infer that this meant if we completed enough operations and killed enough Illuminate, we'd be able to repel the invasion, which is basically how it worked. While sitting above the planet, you'd be able to pick a city to dive to and defend. These cities also corresponded with major cities in real life. On the actual surface of Super-Earth, players were introduced to megacities, a unique type of biome where you would land in a massive cityscape and you'd be completely surrounded by skyscrapers. A new enemy was introduced, known as Leviathans. We had a couple new mission types introduced as well, one where you shoot at an Illuminate overship, and one where you repel an invasion force. The gameplay wasn't incredibly special, but the new biome, new enemies to fight, and the overall story made it feel like a pretty solid update. But I'll be honest, if that were it, I don't think I would be making a video about this today. The Illuminate have been notoriously mixed in the Helldivers 2 community, and even during the invasion, people had their own complaints about these enemy types. So gameplay alone wasn't what made this battle so special. By the way, if you were enjoying this video, be sure to leave a like or hype the video if you're on mobile. If you enjoy this kind of content, be sure to subscribe. And once I hit 100k subscribers, I'll tell you what my favorite color is. But what made the battle for Super-Earth unique was how many people around the globe actually participated in this battle. Over the course of a week and a half, millions of players got to experience the campaign, and even 140k players joined the campaign within hours of the update alone. Johan Pilestead, the CCO of Arrowhead Studios, said that millions of players were logging in on a weekly basis. So imagine how many that total really was during this event when even more Helldivers 2 players came back to defend Super-Earth. The sheer amount of people joining in to play a game together, defending our planet regardless of where they lived and what they believed, was astounding. We even made it into Chinese national news, which I don't think I even need to explain why that is so unique. It's so rare that gaming is covered in such a mainstream way, but the coolest part is that we were actively coordinating and strategizing with our Chinese brothers and sisters overseas. Because when us Americans and Canadians went to bed, they would fight on our behalf and defend our cities. And honestly, it was extremely cool seeing how passionate both communities were about this game, and seeing the communication happening in real time was insane. I simply have no words to describe how crazy this was. In what felt like a story straight out of Independence Day, this battle had gamers set aside their differences to fight side by side. It created this compelling story about real-life humanity. In the event that something like this would happen, being able to work together for once and unite as a species, even if it was just for a simple game, gives me a ton of hope. So Robot Pineapple, why don't you tell me why you liked the Battle of Super Earth so much.
So one of the things I liked most about the Battle for Super Earth was the Repel Invasion mission. It is one of the things I'm a little bit disappointed now that we have less of, but the Repel Invasion and the shooting down the Illuminate overship, those were really fun, and especially when they were brand new. The other thing too that I also really like was just exploring the mega cities. Like, I've made some videos on my channel about it, and I saw like all the brands and stuff on the side of the buildings, and I thought it was like really neat details.
Yeah,
like,
what about the actual event itself, like with the players and the community?
I think Cyberstan was close. We did not have anything even close to like the scale of Super Earth. And yeah. I think the biggest evidence for that is that all of the community came together for this particular MO, and they all decided to coordinate pretty well. You know, they did not want to lose Super Earth. Nothing compares to defending your homeland.
Honestly, this is my favorite part about Helldivers 2, because Helldivers 2 has managed to make something I've never experienced in any other video game, which is true unity. Sure, there are bad actors in the community, and even content creators here on YouTube who seem to try and spoil it all for everyone. But the grand majority of Helldivers players out there are playing this game because they want to fight for something greater than themselves. Yeah, it's fun. It's one of the most fun games I've ever played, but it's also not perfect. The game has its rough edges, patches, and questionable balance decisions, but the community, the story, the galactic war, that's what makes this special. Don't get me wrong, I love games like Far Far West, Deep Rock Galactic, and even Jump Space. But none of those games will make me feel the same way that Helldivers 2 does. We've done this over and over, starting with events like Malevelon Creek, working all the way up to the invasion of Cyberstan. Who knows what else we're going to see in the future? I know Helldivers 2 is in a rut right now, but this is only temporary. I have faith that we will be able to have these stories again, and that the game will improve. I believe that the community organized campaigns like the Creek will return, and we will see more campaigns like the invasion for Super Earth. Seriously, I love this game, and I don't know how to fully articulate my thoughts about it, but the best I can say is that for me, it's irreplaceable. And while I do take breaks from time to time to avoid burnout or frustration, Helldivers 2 is still kind of my home when it comes to content and how I spend my free time. And I know many of you watching feel the same way. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like. And if you want to see more content, be sure to subscribe. It helps a ton and it means a lot.